Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Todd Bowen from sittingposture.com. Welcome to today's video. What is correct computer posture? Quick note, my content is not medical advice. It's based off my experience and my opinions. I talk about good habits that have helped me live a higher quality, sedentary lifestyle at a computer. Do your research, make good decisions, and be the best advocate possible for your own health care. All right, let's get into it. The three worst injuries I had from sitting at a computer were internal shoulder rotation from using a mouse and keyboard, spinal disc degeneration from slouching forward, and knee and ankle dysfunction from not resting my feet flat on the floor. So let's look at a picture here. This user right here is going to obviously have some internal shoulder rotation going on, and that's not a bad thing because when we throw or when we throw balls in sports or when we push doors open, we use internal shoulder rotation. But the bad part comes in when he sits in this position for 8 hours a day for long periods of time. That's when this internal shoulder rotation becomes overactivated and overused and stuck in that position. So you can see he's got that compressed chest. He's definitely got some internal shoulder rotation going on. Over here, up in the upper spine, you can see he's got a lot of inflammation going on. He's not taking advantage of this backrest right here. We don't have to fully lean against it 100%, but we should acknowledge it and definitely rest on it a little bit to take a little bit of the weight off of our upper torso that gravity puts on us from sitting for a long period of time. The third thing that I talked about in the previous slide, look at one foot is flat on the floor. He's doing it right there, but he's got one foot that's not flat on the floor. What happens here is the hamstring contracts and it stays contracted for a long period of time, just like we were talking about in the shoulder. This hamstring is contracted all day, 5 days a week, in order to pull this foot underneath his body. And that also creates a lot of ankle dysfunction down here and knee dysfunction up here. A lot of muscle confusion going on throughout the legs just by simply pulling this foot back and leaving it like this all day. That's speaking from experience. That was a terrible bad habit that I had. But let's go back to the spine here. You can see him slouching forward. Let's look at another slide that talks about that. What happens is the front of the disc shortens. It gets crushed. The spine has discs in between each vertebrae, and the front of the discs, when someone slouches forward at a computer for a long period of time, get crushed and they shorten. The back, the disc on the back side of the body lengthens and it starts to tear. So it's shortening in the front, lengthening in the back, and that's creating a lot of muscle confusion and a lot of other problems with the spine. That's how disc degeneration is caused. So let's talk about three main variables that I follow to have good computer posture. We talked about my three injuries. Now I'm going to talk about my three favorite variables. Eye level with the top of the monitor screen. Elbow height slightly above desk level. We'll talk about why that is in a minute. And feet flat on the floor or a footrest. So let's look at the next picture. This guy's taking advantage of the backrest. You can't see his eye level. We'll go over that in the next couple slides. So he's taking advantage of the backrest. His spine has got those natural curves going through it, so that's good. That means all the discs in between the vertebrae are not they're not getting compressed in the front, and they're not getting overextended in the back. You can also see that his feet are flat on the floor, which would allow him to relax that hamstring as he sits, which would not cause a lot of confusion or joint dysfunction in the knee and in the ankle. So there's a lot going on in this picture here. Let's look at the eye level first. So he's looking down at a 45-degree angle to see his screen there. That's not good. Over here, he's got a little bit of a better angle. But on the third picture on the right, you want to have the eye level at the top of the monitor screen. So he looks down just a slight angle to see the middle of it, but the main variable here is that top of the monitor screen is at eye level. That is a huge variable in correct computer posture. Let's go back to the first picture. He's got that forward slouch going on, and forward slouch here. But you can see as he maintains that eye level at the top of the screen, it automatically makes him activate his upper body muscles in order to protect that spine and not slouch forward. Let's talk about the elbows for a minute. You can see how this elbow is just slightly below the desk. It's just barely below the desk, but that makes a huge difference. What that causes is to contract the bicep for long periods of time, and that bicep is connected to that shoulder by two tendons. So that's often why we feel a lot of pain in our shoulder. It's not that we're using our shoulder muscles. We're really not. We're using our bicep to lift our hands onto that keyboard and mouse when that elbow is below the desk level. So the second variable, you look at the second picture, it's a much better example. Elbow is way below the desk level. That bicep is contracted in order to lift those hands onto the keyboard and mouse, and the shoulder tendons up here in the front, the shoulder / bicep tendons, whatever you want to call them, are being overused, and that's the first place we're going to feel pain, not in the bicep, but in the shoulder. And over here, you can see the elbow is slightly above desk level, so that relaxes his bicep a lot. It might activate the tricep a little bit more, but I'm okay with that. I'd much rather have a little bit of activation in the tricep than excessive activation, I should say, in the bicep. So now let's talk about the feet. Feet are in a decent position here, even though his upper body is terrible. Here, he pulls his feet back just a little bit, and that slight degree is actually contracting that hamstring. So over a long period of time, 8 hours a day, that'll definitely cause an issue and a lot of muscle confusion. Over here, you'll notice that he raised his chair, which is very helpful because when he raised his chair, it put his elbows above the desk level. It also allowed him to extend his feet forward a little bit comfortably, but you'll see that he wasn't able to rest his feet flat on the floor, so he got a footrest. So when you raise your chair so that your elbows are slightly above desk level and your feet don't touch the floor, that's when it's time to get a footrest. Not everybody needs a footrest. It just happens to be, it depends on a few variables: the desk level, the height of the chair, the height of the person. That's how to determine whether or not somebody needs a footrest. All right, let's look at a picture here. So this is a very exaggerated picture. Elbow below the desk, legs pulled underneath the body, not good. Forward slouching going on. Does have the eye level almost right. This guy's got the eye level exactly right, level with the top of the monitor screen. Elbow is above the desk level slightly, and feet are flat on the floor, not pulled underneath his body. Okay, one last picture here. Let's the reason I put this picture on here is because all these variables that I've talked about apply regardless if we're sitting or standing with correct computer posture. So all these three variables remain the same. Eye level is even with the top of the monitor screen. On the left, on the right, same thing. Elbow slightly above the desk level on the left, same thing on the right. Feet flat on a footrest on the left. Feet flat on the floor on the right. So that's it for today's video. What is correct computer posture? I want to thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, congratulations. You're taking a big step forward in improving the quality of your life, and that's definitely something to be proud of. If you want, sign up for free email updates, sittingposture.com/newsletter. What I do is I send out one email a week. I don't spam, usually on Fridays. That email will contain 3 links. One link to the article that I wrote for my website that week, and 2 links to the YouTube videos that I posted to my YouTube channel that week. And that's it. If you guys like this video, do me a big favor and like it. Subscribe if you want to see these videos in your feed more often. And I appreciate you guys. That's it for today's video. What is correct computer posture? This is Todd Bowen. Take care, and we'll see you guys on the next video.